The jungle of northern Guatemala is dense, humid, and unbroken. From the ground, visibility is limited to trunks, vines, and layers of green pressing in from every side. But rising above this living cover are shapes that do not belong to nature alone. Massive stone forms, softened by time yet unmistakably deliberate. And from this hidden landscape, a question emerges quietly but powerfully. How did one of the largest cities in the ancient Americas rise here so early, at such scale, and then disappear beneath the forest for centuries? El Mirador does not reveal itself easily. There are no open plazas visible from nearby roads, no dramatic ruins standing in isolation. Instead, the city is concealed, its true size masked by jungle canopy. Only when viewed from above does its full extent become clear. A vast network of monumental structures, platforms, and causeways stretching across the lowlands, arranged with precision and intent. This place sits in the Mirador Basin, a broad, swampy region shaped by seasonal rain and porous limestone bedrock. Water here does not flow in rivers that stay above ground. It sinks, gathers, and reemerges unpredictably. Soil is thin, stone is abundant. At first glance, this seems like an unlikely setting for a massive urban center. And yet, El Mirador was built here, not in spite of these conditions, but in careful response to them. Long before the rise of the well-known Maya cities to the south, this landscape was transformed. Stone was quarried, shaped, and stacked into enormous architectural complexes. Some of the largest pyramidal platforms ever constructed in the ancient world rise here, their scale rivaling monuments built thousands of years later elsewhere. These were not isolated projects. They were part of a city planned across generations. What makes El Mirador especially puzzling is its timing. Much of its construction dates to an era when large-scale urbanism was still emerging in the region. The city appears suddenly, already monumental, already organized. Roads link distant structures. Complexes align across space. The effort required to create this place was immense. And yet, for all its size, El Mirador left behind few clear explanations. No detailed written records survive to explain how this city functioned, how it was sustained, or why it was ultimately left behind. The stones remain, the jungle endures, and the question lingers, waiting to be explored further. El Mirador's survival depended entirely on how it worked with its environment. The Mirador Basin receives heavy seasonal rain, but offers no permanent rivers. Water appears, disappears, and pools unpredictably. To exist here at scale, the city had to manage water deliberately. Vast reservoirs were carved and lined to capture rain, turning seasonal abundance into long-term stability. These artificial basins were not secondary features. They were central, shaping where and how the city expanded. Stone defined the city's form. Limestone was quarried locally and stacked into massive platforms, terraces, and pyramidal complexes. The largest of these rises with overwhelming scale, its base covering more ground than many later monuments elsewhere in the ancient world. But El Mirador was not built around a single structure. It was a network, dozens of monumental complexes linked by long, raised causeways that cut clean lines through the landscape. These causeways suggest coordination across distance. They connected neighborhoods, ceremonial centers, and resource zones, allowing movement through wetlands that would otherwise be difficult to cross. From above, the city appears as a planned system rather than an accumulation of buildings. Its layout implies foresight, repetition, and shared rules governing how space was shaped. What is striking is how early this level of organization appears. Many of El Mirador's largest constructions date to a period when such architectural ambition is unexpected. The city did not begin small and grow gradually into monumentality. It appears to have emerged already committed to scale, as if its identity was established from the beginning. Daily life here must have revolved around maintenance. Stone structures required constant repair. Reservoirs needed clearing. Causeways had to remain passable. This was a city that could exist only through continuous participation. The absence of metal tools or draft animals makes the achievement even more remarkable. And yet, despite this effort, El Mirador shows little evidence of defensive walls or fortifications. The city does not appear shaped by constant conflict. Its energy went into building upward and outward, not inward against threat. That raises a deeper question. If this place was sustained by coordination and renewal, what happened when that coordination began to weaken? El Mirador becomes most puzzling when its scale is placed beside what is missing. For a city of this size and complexity, there is little visible evidence of strong central enforcement. Monumental architecture dominates the landscape, yet signs of rigid hierarchy carved into stone are limited. No clear royal palaces stand apart. No defensive barriers define exclusive zones. Authority, if it existed, seems woven into space rather than imposed through walls or weapons. The city's immense pyramidal complexes appear ceremonial, but they also function as anchors in a broader system. Their alignment and repetition suggest shared patterns rather than individual ambition. Even the largest structures feel integrated, not isolated. This gives the impression of a city guided by collective rules, where meaning was reinforced through repeated forms and shared orientation rather than direct control. Art and symbolism offer only partial clues. Stucco reliefs hint at early mythic imagery, but they do not resolve how the city was governed day to day. Written records are scarce, and what survives does not explain how labor was organized or decisions were enforced. Much of El Mirador's social logic seems to have been expressed physically, in where people moved, gathered, and rebuilt, rather than through text. The scale of construction implies sustained coordination over generations. Quarries were managed. Materials were transported across long distances. Reservoirs were maintained through repeated labor. This level of organization suggests a social system capable of long-term planning, yet flexible enough to operate without visible coercion. How that balance was maintained remains one of the site's central mysteries. Over time, subtle changes appear. Construction patterns shift. Some areas show reduced activity. Others seem repurposed. These changes are gradual, not catastrophic. The city does not bear the marks of sudden destruction. Instead, it feels as though its internal rhythm began to slow. This raises an essential question. If El Mirador's strength lay in cooperation, repetition, and shared participation, what happens when that shared commitment begins to fade? A city built on constant renewal does not need to fall dramatically. It only needs to stop being renewed. The decline of El Mirador does not announce itself with destruction. There is no widespread burning, no collapsed walls frozen in violence. Instead, the city seems to loosen quietly. Construction slows. Some monumental projects are left incomplete. Plazas that once structured movement and gathering show fewer signs of renewal. The rhythm that sustained the city for centuries begins to thin. Environmental pressure offers one possible explanation. El Mirador depended on a delicate balance between rainfall, water storage, and forest management. Prolonged shifts in climate, periods of drought or irregular rainfall, could have strained reservoirs and agricultural systems. In a city built at such scale, even small disruptions may have multiplied over time, making long-term maintenance increasingly difficult. Resource stress may have played a role as well. The surrounding forests were essential for fuel, construction, and daily life. As demands grew, the landscape may have struggled to recover at the pace the city required. A system built on renewal depends on limits being respected. When those limits are crossed, decline does not arrive suddenly. It unfolds gradually through absence rather than collapse. What stands out most is how deliberately El Mirador seems to have been left. There is little evidence of panic or disorder. Instead, the city appears to have been set aside. People moved elsewhere. Maintenance stopped. Jungle growth reclaimed plazas and platforms with patience rather than force. Stone remained where it stood, slowly disappearing beneath soil, roots, and time. Today, El Mirador lies hidden within dense forest. Its massive forms still shape the land, even when they are barely visible. From above, the geometry of the city reappears, revealing a scale that feels almost unreal beneath the canopy. The place is not gone, it is simply quiet. And the question asked at the beginning returns once more. How did a city of such immense scale emerge so early, sustain itself without obvious coercion, and then fade without collapse? El Mirador does not offer a single answer. Instead, it suggests that early urban life could rise through cooperation, repetition, and shared responsibility, and that when those bonds loosen, a city does not fall. It gently lets go. If this journey through El Mirador stayed with you, you may choose to join us for future explorations. And what do you think mattered most in holding a city like this together for so long?